It's my pleasure to introduce you Karen Bird. Many of you know her very well. I don't need to go into a long explanation. She is wonderful. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, William. Stand up for a minute. Get some energy so you don't fall asleep. Get the wiggle out. All right. 10 years at the Heartland Hypnosis Conference. Yay! This is awesome. Who's been here 10 years? William? Yeah, Brian, right? Yeah, awesome. Thank you for having me do this. I'm super excited about it. And let's give a hand to William Mitchell, the OG of the OG Hypnosis Conference. You've been in the hypnosis business. Oh wait, don't tell me. We don't want to disclose your age. 21. This year's theme is Changemakers. A changemaker is an entrepreneur, an innovator, and a change agent. A changemaker is someone that imagines a new reality, takes action to bring that new reality into being, and then is that being. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. I've been presenting here at the Heartland Hypnosis Conference for 6 years, and it truly is one of my favorite conferences. I really do love it. Who is attending to hear the speakers? And who's attending and here for the networking? And who has no idea why they are here? By the time we're finished, you'll know exactly why you're here. And if I do my job correctly, you'll know what's holding you back from being your best self, how to stop negative patterns, and how to shift. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We all have BS labels, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But before that, I just wanted to tell you that we as human beings all have labels we put on ourselves. Things that hold us back from being our best self. And many times we don't even see them. And other people see them, but we don't see them. And our way of being is not who we really want to be. I found it interesting how we are called human beings, yet many times we're so busy in the doing, we don't even pay attention to how we're being. Any of you ever ask someone, hey, how do you see me and the way I show up? How do you see me? It's a really interesting question because we don't ask that very often, do we? We're going to do an exercise in a little bit where I'll help you open your eyes to see what it is that is holding you back from being the way you want to be. And then you have the choice to stop that and react differently and shift and then make powerful changes in your life and become a true change maker. Because that's what we all really are in our lives, right? No matter why you're here, we all have a very rewarding career. We help people see what's holding them back. We guide them into their new reality, way of being. And then we pace them, future pace them, into what it is that they want to be, do, and have, right? And let's not kid ourselves. We all have our own baggage because a lot of us got into this to sort our own shit first, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But before that, I'm Karen Bird. My business is Win with Hypnosis, and I have been in hypnosis as a hypnotist for 21 years. I started out with hypnobirthing, and I remember people would say, hippo birthing? What is that? And I felt like a hippo, truly. And when you're pregnant, you feel like a hippo, right? I did that, and I was a talk at the hospital, and the obstetrician said to me, if you want to teach this, I will endorse you in my practice. And that's all I needed. I had been an at-home mom for 15 years and out of the workforce. I did that for a little while and decided to get certified by the NGH because hypnosis was amazing, and if it worked for birthing, it could work for anything else. I got certified, but I had massive imposter syndrome. Any of you feel that way? Who am I to be doing this? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a business person. I don't know the first thing about taxes or LLCs. I don't know anything about marketing or CRMs. I don't know how to schedule somebody on the computer. And it was a serious learning curve for me. In fact, I wish I had this Hypnobiz in a box. If you guys haven't checked it out, it is a platform that has everything on it. At Randy's desk, there's a QR code, you can check it out, and Sean and Melanie are here too. But I wish I had something like that because I hired a VA, and it took my VA, I don't even know how many months to figure out the system and the program. And with my massive imposter syndrome, I played a small game because I didn't believe in myself. I was just an at-home mom. I raised 3 boys and 2 foster girls, and here I am saying I want to do this business. And I didn't do it to make money. I did it to help people. But I truly had no idea how lucrative this business is. In fact, I work out of a doctor's office now, and the receptionist said to me the other day, wow, on the days that you work here, I can't believe the amount of money that you bring in. She's comparing me to doctors, functional doctors. And there is good money to be made in this business because people need us. Get rid of the imposter syndrome, kick it to the curb, and know that you guys can do this and you can make plenty of money doing it. Imposter syndrome for a while, I remember I would research every single client that came in for 3 to 4 hours, every single client.
I'm so tired, my mind is on the blink.
I'm so tired, right? I would sit there with manuals and scripts on my lap, and I would Google things, and I would take anybody. In fact, I remember when I first started, a man came to me and said, can you help me in bed with my wife? And I remember thinking, of course I can help you. I can do anything. And believe it or not, I did help him because, as we know, using the power of hypnosis and our skills that we have, we can truly help anyone through anything. I'm seeing a gentleman now that's been to every urologist in the country trying to figure out some problems, and it truly was just fear that he's holding in his gut area, his solar plexus, right? We can help anybody with anything. But now I know if I'm not an expert in it and I don't know how to do it, I just send them to someone like Connie Jo that is another great hypnotist and refer out. That works out much better for me because I'm not going to sit there and research scripts anymore. Because at the time, the only thing I had, because I was a lone wolf, I was a solopreneur and a lone wolf. How many of you feel like that? I'm doing this all on my own. But you don't have to be. I played small. I was a lone wolf. I did it myself. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have Facebook groups. I didn't know the first thing about collaborating. There's some pretty music. And a few years later, I went to the Mid-America Hypnosis Conference. And I don't know if Carm is here, but Carm was doing it then. And it was a great conference, but it was a conference that was close to me. And it was only an hour away from me. And because I was still playing a small game, I would only go for a day because I didn't want to spend any money that I wasn't making. And I would go for a day, and I really didn't believe in myself. I could dress the part, but I didn't feel the part. That same imposter syndrome, I would kind of hide in the corner and be quiet. I don't know if any of you feel like that. At that first conference, I met William Mitchell. And William Mitchell saw in me what I didn't see in myself, and invited me to speak at the Heartland Hypnosis Conference. And that was the start of it. So I came to Heartland Hypnosis Conference that year because what I realized is that I was playing a small game. I was slight, I didn't believe in myself, and I was, okay, I'm gonna do this. I filled in for someone that year, and thank you, William, for seeing me. And I know that he does with a lot of you. He sees the potential in you, and you get to see the potential in yourself too. So by that time, I actually was seeing a lot of athletes. I niche in athletes, and I had written a 4-session program and protocol. See, I have 3 outstanding wrestling sons. My husband was a collegiate wrestler and a coach. And my oldest son, our oldest son, was a national champion, multi-time national champion, state champion. He trained in Ukraine. He had trained at the Olympic Training Center, and he was on the future Olympians list. So I knew how to mentally, physically, and emotionally work with athletes because I saw it in my life. And I created this step-by-step protocol. That year, when I came to Heartland, I was talking about it, and I was teaching, how do you work with athletes? This is how I do it. This is the protocol. Let me know if you want more information on it. And Elaine Midas from Australia, who is a good friend of mine, she said to me, why are you not teaching this to other hypnotists? Because you have something that they can use to have successful businesses. And that was that little bit of a nudge that I needed at that time. Then I decided, okay, I'm gonna write Attitude of a Champion. It's a mindset training guide. And again, it's the 4-session structure, but I put it into book form. So I have this manual, and I don't know if any of you have ever been to this place in your life, and you want to teach others, and you're like, what the heck am I gonna do with this? How do I market this? I don't know the first thing about marketing. How do I reach out to other hypnotists? And so I hired a book coach thinking he could help me make it into a book and that would solve all my problems. Well, we ended up writing this one, Hypnosis, because he talked me into writing a lead magnet, which was the power of niching for a successful and profitable business, and then that would lead them into, okay, if you niche with athletes. We did that. If anyone wants this, I have digital copies. Find me later. I'm happy to send it to you, and it's the importance of niching and how it helps your business and why you want to do it. So we did that, and then I still wasn't sure what to do with my Attitude of a Champion. And in 2017 then, or a few years later, my world actually was very rocked when our oldest son, the Olympic hopeful, got kicked out of college. He had a full scholarship his freshman year. He got kicked out of college without us knowing in less than 24 hours. His coach that adored him was away at a tournament, and he was, per the dean of the college in Nebraska, going to charge him with 4 felonies. He was scared, and he was young, and he signed himself out of college and sent us an email one evening and said, I have gotten in some trouble and was forced to disenroll. I had a camping knife that was 3 inches too long, a propane stove. I had my bow because he was a hunter out in Nebraska, no arrows, but he was restringing it, and a bag of weed in my pocket of my coat. And I'm sending this from the airport. I have sold everything. I'm taking my SIM card out of my phone, and I'm going to find what God wants for me in my life. And he said, I am a bird, and just like Tom Petty says, it's time for me to fly and spread my wings. I will always be your Joshy boy. I love you till the day I die. And I remember getting that email, and I thought, holy cow, this has got to be a joke. He's supposed to go to the Olympics. That's his dream. He was an amazing wrestler, and his dreams were crushed. And he was also the hometown hero, and our youngest son was still in high school. How was I going to tell anybody this had happened to him? It was embarrassing. Here I'm teaching athletes how to have mental toughness. And I just remember rolling in my bed in a ball, and there was a cotton ball, I swear a cotton ball, stuck in my throat, and I could not talk for days. And now I know when clients come to me and they say, I can't talk, I get it. It was just stuck in there. I couldn't say anything to anyone, and I wasn't sure what to do. But a few days later, I decided to pull myself out of it, and that was it. That was the day that I decided that I was gonna make a very strong commitment to help every athlete that I could reach have the same confidence and mental toughness and undeniable belief in themselves that he had. Because so much of what I learned was because he would literally step on the wrestling mat and I would say to him, how do you know you're gonna win every single match? And he said, I just turned into an apex. What the heck is an apex? I don't know, some creature that he saw at some point in his life. And I had learned so much from him, and I wanted everyone to be able to have that same confidence in themselves. Because we know that when you have confidence as a high schooler, a youth, a collegiate athlete, it transfers to confidence in your life. And that's when I decided that I was going to mobilize a global network of other hypnotists to reach athletes also, because I couldn't do it on my own. About that same time, I had decided, okay, this coach that I had hired, because I truly believe also, and this is so important, I truly believe that when we want to get to a different place in life, when we want to up level, the best way to do it is to find someone that's done what you've done, get their resources, find out the mistakes they made, and then hire them or work with them to help you get to where you want to go. And the lone wolf thing that I was doing was not working for me. And many years later, this is a long journey. I don't want this journey to be so long for you. I'm trying to give you everything that I've learned. I hired this book coach, and she would constantly tell me, you know, Karen, you have so much going for you, but you're playing a small game. And I didn't know what that meant. I'm trying not to play a small game. I'm working on this. But she kept saying, you play a small game the way you show up. Well, as she was saying that, I went to HypnoThoughts that next year after I had presented here at Heartland. And I will never forget, there was a group of people that were key leaders in the field that were collaborating on something, and they did not invite me to collaborate with them. And I was pissed, because I was like, I get to take a serious look at how I'm showing up that they're not seeing me. And in the airport on the way home, ironically, I found this book, and it was Successful Women Speak Differently. And I read it from cover to cover on that airplane ride home. And I vowed that moment that I was going to change the way I spoke, and I was going to change my way of being, because I was never again not going to be invited to a key meeting that I thought I should be at. And here's the problem. I knew what I wanted. I knew where I wanted to go in life, but I had a shit scoop in my life. What is that? That is when you have a really yummy ice cream cone, and your two favorite flavors are on the bottom, and it's a triple decker. And the top one is a scoop of shit. And you can't get to that really yummy ice cream because y'all got a whole bunch of garbage going on in your life. I had garbage going on in my life. I had a horrible marriage. I didn't believe in myself. My son, the oldest one, had finally moved home, bought a house, and worked as a carpenter. He was coaching at a high school, but still struggling with who he was because he was to be an Olympian. And I knew that if I was going to go where I needed to go, I had to get rid of that scoop on top. But he wasn't sure how to do it. My business coach, thank you for her, said, I have this emotional intelligence transformational leadership course that I want you to go to so you can figure out what is going on in your life and get rid of what's not working for you. And it was the perfect timing. It's like boot camp. I went to California for 10 days. I thought at the time it was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life. Little did I know. And then I went back to California for 4-day weekends 3 more times in the next 3 months. It was a pretty intensive course. But by the end, we knew exactly what it was that we weren't doing in our lives that was not getting us to where we wanted to go. I'm going to give you guys an exercise in a little bit so you can do a little bit of self-reflection. I went to this course. I came back from the course in the perfect timing. And just as I was returning from the course, the pandemic hit and life shut down. But little did I know, I would be tested beyond anything I could ever imagine. Because that same year, as the pandemic hit in March, 2 months later, my marriage dissolved, and 10 days later, our son died in a motorcycle accident. And I didn't think I could survive it, but I'll tell you what, life is messy, and I know that crisis precedes transformation. I am a different person for it. I am a better person for it. And I do not regret one moment of my life, because without all of that, I wouldn't be who I am. What I tell every single one of my clients is you have a choice. You can sit with the scoop on top of your ice cream, or you can figure out how you're showing up in the world, and you can take off that scoop, and you can stand up and be who you are meant to be. And now, every time I forget who I am, I remind myself that I am a courageous, authentic, powerful leader. Here's where I learned about BS labels, is in this transformational course, we had an exercise where after we had spent 10 days with these people, we knew them really well, right? If we spent 10 days together, we'd know each other really well. And so they knew how we showed up. They saw us. We knew everyone's name. We saw what was holding them back. And the exercise was to yell very loudly at one person at a time how we saw them showing up. And as I stood there, I heard victim, because I was still married in a marriage that was not working for me. It was quite toxic. I heard doormat. I heard scared little girl. I heard judgmental. I heard critical. And a whole lot of other things. And I remember turning to one of the guys, and I looked at him in the face, and I said, I am not effing slow. And that was it. That was my declaration. Because what I realized that moment, and in that course, is that my limiting belief, one of my labels was that small and cute women cannot be powerful and successful. Why did I believe that? Because my entire high school, college career, I was told, you're so cute and little. You're so cute and little. Well, I wasn't beautiful. I was just cute and little. And I had believed that cute and little could not be powerful. And that was the day also that I changed my contract to be a powerful leader. Like I had said before, crisis leads to transformation. It had been one hell of a ride, and I decided that I was not going to have these BS labels anymore. I had a ton more BS labels. In fact, it makes me think of Doug with his Band-Aids on last night. I was like, look at all those Band-Aids, right? It's like we walk around with these labels on ourselves. What I'm going to have you guys do, I'm going to have Connie and Randy pass out these sheets. And while we do that, I want you to think about and identify what are your BS labels. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, they might be a little bit tough. Some of these are not very kind, but think about how you show up. And if you'd like to, maybe ask the person next to you, I don't care if they're your friend or a stranger, how do you see me showing up here? Because this is some serious stuff, and it is going to change your life if you can go deep. Go deep. Lean into it and circle the ones that you feel that you get to work on. These are negative ones, and we'll change this up in a minute. But yeah, all of it that looks like it's you, go ahead and start circling. I'm going to give you guys a few moments. I'll tell you, my labels, like I said, I showed up small. I could be a hypocrite, never too loud, but I would hide. I would be invisible and small. I definitely was a victim in my life. Now, I wouldn't say I am a victim, but I was playing victim in my life because I was in a marriage I didn't think I could get out of. And when I really saw who I was, I could do anything I wanted to do. You guys go ahead and take a moment. We're going to put some music on, and we'll kind of keep an eye out on. Don't think too much about it. Just start circling. They're habitual, repetitive behaviors or character traits, and experienced as, that's just the way I am. I'm just a quiet person. That's just the way I am. I'm always going to be small. That's just who I am. These aren't really who you are. These are the Band-Aids, the labels. All right. Here's an example of how I use this with my clients is when we're talking about limiting beliefs. He talked about one of his labels. He's a 24-year-old that wants to have a business. He knows exactly what he wants, a wellness center. Sharp guy. He was a baseball player in high school. Good-looking guy. And he said, you know, I've been told my whole life from my parents that we're just not meant to make a lot of money. We're just not meant to have a lot of money. In fact, we're meant to be broke forever. Well, how are you going to be an entrepreneur if you're meant to be broke? You're going to be a broke entrepreneur, right? How many of you have this glass ceiling, and I call it a scarcity, right? A scarcity ceiling that I can only make as much money as my parents made. I'm not any better than that. I can't make millions of dollars. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Break the glass ceiling. And before you guys are now down, like, oh my gosh, this is horrible, I'm going to bring you back up. Don't worry. I'll bring you back up. And before I do that, I want to tell you what I went through in my life. It was messy, but I'll tell you, I now know my path, my purpose, my mission. I know exactly where I'm going in my life. I've written a memoir with my son Josh in heaven, which is why if you guys hear some people calling me Karen and some people calling me Karen and you're really confused, it's because I was Karen my whole life. But since I started writing my memoir with my son, I get messages from him. I have a very clear message that he wants my author name to be Karen.
Aww.
I'm moving to Karen. It's been a little bit of a transition, but that explains a little bit around that. But my mission and my goal in life is to empower as many people as I can and coach everyone into their greatness, because everyone deserves to know how great they are. What I want you guys to do is take a look at what you circled. And what is the opposite of every single one of those? The way you show up. And maybe later today you want to ask someone that you don't know, hey, how do I show up? How do you see me? Do you even know who I am? Do you know my name? And if no one knows your name, maybe you get to start telling them your name. Maybe you get to show up differently. Every single one of those, what you can do with it is write the opposite of it, the way you want to be. And with every single one of them, we're hypnotists. Write an affirmation. I am a, and powerful, courageous, strong, authentic, inspiring, amazing hypnotist, person, woman, man. And that's my challenge for you guys, is to not only do that for yourself, but do that for your clients. Show up for your clients in the way that you want them to show up in life. And be a change maker. Be the change in the world that we all want to see. Figure out what it is that you're doing, what's not working for you. Make the choice to stop, notice, this isn't working for me, act and react differently, and shift. I still find myself showing up the way I don't want to show up. What I learned in my life is that before I decided to step into my true self, that authentic self, that part of me that the outside is the same as the inside, because I was sick and tired of being angry at myself. I used to show up at conferences, meetings, even virtual Zooms. I would be the last one to speak because everyone else was more important than me. I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want everybody to notice me. My voice did not matter. Didn't matter what I had to say. Everybody else was more important. And if that's you, start from this moment forward to say, what I have to say matters. Because what you have to say matters. And start showing up. Be the first one to volunteer. Be the first one to raise your hand. Because your voice is as important as my voice. Okay, does anyone have any comments? I would love to hear. Sure.
You want a bad?
Well, good. Good, you were a fighter. I wasn't a fighter. I don't like conflictor. I would just hide. In fact, I went to Cheryl and Sharon's class yesterday, and they were talking about the inner warrior. And I never really looked at it like that, but my inner warrior retreated for years. I shut down. I just couldn't manage life until I got to that place where I was, okay, this is enough. Anyone else want to share a big takeaway?
You're taught all your life that men do not show emotion.
Absolutely, men do not show emotion.
And you have to learn to be truthful with yourself and learn to overcome that. You're entitled to feel feelings.
You're entitled to feel emotion. Oh, thank
Yes.
you, they can hear you, because you're a stage
Yeah.
hypnotist.
That's right. And you're entitled to success in your life, whatever that success may be. Whether it's you want to be an entrepreneur, make millions, or whether you want to be emotionally successful, financially successful, just successful in every area of your life.
Absolutely. And you know what? Emotions are beautiful,
You cannot survive without emotion,
right?
whether they're good or bad.
And when you let them out, they don't get stuck in the heart center and then the throat, and then you can't talk because you have a cotton ball in there, because you're stuffing it all. And when you think about abundance and prosperity, I tell my clients this all the time. What if you guys got rid of the scarcity mode of, I can't make enough money, there's not enough clients, I don't know where to find clients, and you thought about money the same as leaves on the trees? Because it's there, and when you make it, you can share it. And money truly is as abundant as the leaves on the trees. It's a matter of stepping into that person and knowing that. Think about it when you see those beautiful green leaves up there. Yes, Sharon.
I'm
And then we'll move on.
impressed with how quickly you can go from all of the negative things, and then when you write your statement, it's the statement that just is who you really are and who you want to be. So my statement was, I am peaceful, excited, fun-loving person who goes with the flow and is a master at manifesting.
I love
And
it.
I mean, what a great person to be putting out into the world.
That's who you are.
So it's a very quick technique of getting you to who I am in the world and
Yeah.
who I want to be in the world.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, and this is all who you get to be. So obviously there's some really good takeaways today, and I hope all of you have seen that we don't have to show up the way we thought we were supposed to, or that's just how I am, because you were all born as blank slates. This is based on experiences and things that other people have said, and at what point in your life do you just say, I'm done? I am done being that way, and I'm ready to step into this powerful, amazing, authentic, inspiring person that I believe I am. Thank you so much for being with me. You guys were amazing audiences. I appreciate you. And we're around all weekend. Just come and say hi.
Hey guys, give Kara a card. Another applause. Give Kara